Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again when we do a profile. And I'm rubbing my hands together.
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant!
That's Luke.
Brilliant.
Outrageous.
James?
Yes?
It's Tony Adams.
Tony Adams. I'm delighted about that. About time too.
All right. You on the forum or something?
We have got a lot of stick about Bobby Moore not being in there.
Yeah. Well, you know.
And it continues.
Oh, yeah, I got confused. I heard English centre-back needs to go, and so I put out Tony Adams. Tony...
Don't bait them.
Well, he's done it now.
Tony Alexander Adams. He was born on the 10th of October 1966.
Ooh, I don't even know where the summer... I just let him
1
get on
year
with it.
before the Summer of Love.
Is that when it is?
Tune out for that
67?
bit now.
Yeah. Gordon Bennett.
Where was he born?
Romford.
Oh, yes! Debonair.
Yeah. That's
How
right.
many players for Arsenal in that sort of era came from Romford?
Ray
Was it
Parlour's
all
from
of them?
Romford as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just them
Pele,
two, but that's
wasn't
enough.
it?
I was going to say.
It's
That's a
represented.
spine, isn't it?
Too many.
I think he went to the same school as my mum.
Ah.
I'm not sure.
He never.
Weird.
He won Club Man
Yeah, he was.
when people call him Mr. Arsenal.
Yeah. None of this Mr. Chelsea
that
gets bestowed on players occasionally now.
Yeah.
Not naming
Had
any
a, had
names.
a lovely soft voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, strangely.
Quite sort of dreamy, like a cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a great pundit, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. He became Arsenal's youngest captain at 21.
I believe there's a record as well with Adams. He's the only player in, I think, English history. It might even be further, like wider than that. But I think he's the only player to captain the side in 3 different decades.
Oh, is that
I think
right?
that might be true.
Marvellous stuff. But it's still a great achievement, even if a few other people have done it.
Yeah.
14 years as captain.
Yeah, because I mean, it was very young when he was made captain.
That's right. Yeah.
Was he 21?
21? Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
His
I mean,
right arm must have some like ill effects from that. It just blew by the end of it.
Yeah.
I've got blue arm.
Captain's upper arm, or something they could call it. Yes, nearly 670 appearances for Arsenal, 10 major trophies, 3 league titles. Bob Wilson, who of course is the television presenter,
And former Arsenal goalkeeper.
yeah, that's right, the member of the double winning side of 71, said he is the greatest of all Arsenal men. As simple as that.
Wow, that's high praise from Bob Wilson.
Flipping, absolutely. So, and of course, Adams was the leader of the famous back four with Steve Bold as his centre-back partner and Lee Dixon and Nigel Winterburn as
There's
the
also
fullbacks.
Keown and Linegan involved in that quite a lot as well. So it's just this huge defence Arsenal at the time. That's basically what it was. You'd have Ian Wright, Paul Merson and Anders Limpart and just some cloggers.
Yeah.
Just loads of cloggers.
But they were absolutely superb, though.
Oh yeah, that was just an absolutely monumental defence.
I used to really like Bald because he was going bald. Bald was going
Yeah.
bald ever since he
Made
was
it
like
easy to
17.
remember.
He was thinning from the age
That's
of
right.
20.
So he was an underrated player as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bold is a good player. I think Tony Adams, committed, gutsy, inspirational. All words that describe the man.
Great header of the ball.
Yeah.
Scored a few with his head as well.
He did, yeah. That back four for Arsenal were absolutely superb, and he was the leader and an absolutely huge part of that. And George Graham said that he is my sergeant major on the pitch.
Yeah.
Tony Adams, he made his England debut in 1987, and he was the first player born after the 1966 World Cup to be selected for England.
Ah.
There you are.
Got quite a few weird little things like that. Strange little accolades and records. It's not really an accolade, is it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Not an achievement in itself, but
Being born.
He played at Euro 88, but he had a bit of a shocker there. Well, I think England did completely. He took a bit of the blame for the loss against Ireland, and then Marco van Basten had his wicked way with him on the pitch, and England.
I was going to say, I don't remember that scandal.
It didn't do too well, and kind of as a result, really, his England career didn't really take off when he was quite young, as often great players do. And he missed out on the 1990 World Cup. But before that World Cup, he had already taken the Arsenal captaincy, and of course they won the league in that famous match at Anfield on the final day of the season, 88-89.
Yep.
He's the first captain to lead a side to the FA Cup and League Cup double in the same season in 1993.
Was that the 2 Sheffield Wednesday games?
I believe
Or was
so.
that- yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was, yeah.
And didn't he drop... It was Steve Morrow, wasn't it? He dropped him when they were
yeah.
celebrating one of them, and he got really badly injured.
Yeah, he was the League Cup win, I think.
Yeah.
He had a fantastic game against Spurs in the FA Cup semi-final in 93. Of course, Spurs had beaten them in 91. With that famous Gascoigne free kick, and Adams was superb, and he in around about the 80th minute went up the other end and nodded the only goal of the game. That is, as a centre back, you can't ask for much more than that.
Well, that is a captain's performance.
Yeah, you keep them out, you play superbly, and then towards the end of the game, you nod the winner.
Yeah,
and then you shut them out for the rest of the game. Absolutely wonderful stuff. He was a part of the England side, which of course failed to qualify for the '94 World Cup, but then he captained the side and was very much a part of the Euro '96 team that got to the semi-final.
Yeah,
I can remember him. He was beaming after they beat Holland 4-1.
Yeah,
and he was like, 8 years. 8 years I waited for that.
Yeah. Adams was one of those players. I mean, we've said this about Shearer before as well at the time, but he was one of those players you just trusted.
Yeah, totally.
Completely. Just had absolute faith in them.
Yeah. The way he sort of boomed out the national anthem. You were like, we've got him on our team.
Yeah. Do you remember that goal he scored? I can't remember which team did he score against where Bould knocked it.
Oh, we're coming on to that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's all right, Luke. Jumping ahead. So after Euro '96, Wenger took over and kept faith with Adams, and quite a bold move, especially as Adams was battling alcoholism at the time, which we must mention. Well,
there's a big drinking culture at Arsenal around that time. Obviously, Paul Merson suffered quite a bit from that as well, and obviously Wenger came in, he revolutionised a lot of the sort of dietary stuff and things like that. And I think it was a huge part in Adams sort of continuing to play to such a high level for such a long time, because he was obviously Arsenal wasn't a great place to be to get away from that, because it was clearly a thing going on amongst the players, and I think it wasn't just Arsenal at the time. That was very much the case at a lot of clubs in England. But it's the impact Wenger had on him. Kind of really is almost like a microcosm of how he's affected the wider.
I think Arsene Wenger just
thinking, not just Wenger, obviously. Yeah.
But I think he probably turned up the club and went, "What the f? More pasta, less metal polish, or whatever you mean." My word.
Yeah. Well, it must be said, of course, that Adams, way back in 1991, had a prison sentence for drink driving, and then publicly admitted his health problems 5 years later. But once sober, he beat the alcoholism. He established a charity, Sporting Chance, which was a charity to help youngsters deal with the problems he had faced. So
that's massive now as well. It's not like it's not like something that just disappeared just because he had, and it wasn't just a PR measure for him. It has grown from absolute strength to strength.
Yeah. So it's incredible.
So I believe he used the money from his testimonial towards that.
Oh, okay.
Which is quite
he earned a lot of money from his testimonial, about $500,000 or something.
Yeah, which all went to Sporting Chance.
Yeah, superb. And then, of course, he won the league with Arsenal in '98, scoring on the last day against Everton.
Yeah, there's a brilliant bit of commentary from that. I forget who it actually is, but
I think this is
like I don't believe it sort of thing.
Was this what you were talking about, Pete?
Where Bould lobs it over the top and he just sort of slides in.
He's got a clear run and goal and he scores. And whoever was commentating went, and that just sums it all up.
It was Martin Tyler. Because it was obviously 3-0. I think over Miles had scored a couple. Slaven Bilic with an own goal that game. I think. He was put in. And because Arsenal needed to win, I think, to clinch the title, and he was like, "And coming through the middle, Tony Adams, can you believe it?" And he smashed it in.
He was so happy, his little face.
It's a wonderful piece of commentary, it has to be said. Adams, of course, played at the...
I miss winning things!
Remember that, James? Silver stuff. He played at '98 World Cup. England getting to the second round. Played at Euro 2000 as well. Didn't do so well there, England. But and his last game, I think, was against Germany at Wembley when they lost 1-0. He retired from international football. He captained England 15 times, and
it's weird. It seems like he captained England more than that.
Yeah, I actually saw a Tony Adams goal at Wembley when I watched them friendly against Ukraine. I was in the stadium. Collector's item.
Header.
It's weird when you see videos now of the old Wembley. It looks bigger than the new one.
Yeah,
I know it's
weird.
not, but it's odd.
Yeah, very odd. Of course, Adams, he retired at the end of 2001-2002 season. 2004, he was inducted into what is now known as the Dean Windass Hall of Fame warm-up, the English Hall of Fame. And he was, in 2008, he was finished third, or placed third rather, in the 50 greatest gunners poll conducted by Arsenal fans.
Nice.
After football, of course, he went into management. Not so successful there. He was at Wycombe Wanderers and then assistant to Harry Redknapp at Portsmouth, and then got the job and was sacked. But he's now taken a job in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, he's... It's weird because we were talking about this earlier, but Azerbaijan's one of those places where nobody really knows a lot about it. They've got quite booming economies, and kind of anything could really happen out there. It's odd. Apparently, he's got quite a decent budget behind him and stuff. Because like Scolari was he in Azerbaijan?
He was in Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan, right?
Where Rivaldo still is.
Exactly. Yeah. At
the time of recording,
it was getting players like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Tony Adams is getting personally $1 million a season. So
wow,
that's a decent amount.
Well, he said he wants to start this club up from scratch. And it really to be like a Tony Adams FC team. Do you know what I mean?
I reckon he was, as a youth in Romford, he's probably thinking, one day I can play my way out of here. I want my out of here.
Who knows? But perhaps his biggest compliment was given to him by Sir Alex Ferguson, who wrote in his book, "I can't wait for him to retire," in 1999. Which is such a big compliment, really.
That's brilliant.
Especially from Sir Alex.
And then die. What you like, Alex?
And Sir Alex wrote, he said, he's the defining spirit of their team, Arsenal, of course. A classic English defender, brave, reliable, and capable not only of fulfilling his own responsibilities superbly, but of organising and inspiring others. Absolutely. And then he comes to the Dean Windass Hall of Fame.
One thing I do like about Fergie is that you often hear quotes about players from other teams from him that are just like glowing, which is great. You can tell he loves the game outside of winning, which is the thing he loves most.
Absolutely, and that's one of them.
And let's not forget that despite his face, he got off with Caprice. Round of applause.
Oh, yeah. Well done.